Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Matt. I'm a content producer for OddsJam. And today, what we're going to be doing is placing some bets. Simple as that. So I've already locked this one in here. This Devin Singletary under 1.5 receptions. I put 100 on it. And this is a bet. It's a strictly positive EV bet that I got from OddsJam that I really like, that I kind of want to talk through. And I also am going to see if there are a couple other bets that I like on the positive EV page that I can place that I'll do as we're talking. I'll do it on my phone and then provide proof on my computer. It's annoying. It's a location thing. But so it looks like there's these other two that I'll review later. But right now, let's talk about this Devin Singletary one. So if we're looking at it from a high level, it's Pinnacle has it at plus 107. OddsJam has it at plus 107. It looks like you can get it at plus 135 on BetMGM and on DraftKings. So I put 100 on this for the purpose of just highlighting a bet that I really like. But if we were going to use the Kelly criterion method, looks like this is a bet that I would put 21 bucks on, and it looks like it's about 5.78 positive EV. And if you want to look at, let's go to some calculators so I can kind of highlight the positive EV nature of it. So it's pretty simple. The way you calculate it is just it's a formula with the true line, the percent chance of it winning based on the odds that you're getting. So if you want to go to calculators, looks like expected value calculator. So actually, I need to look at the odds converter. So the true odds have it at plus 107. So plus 107. Looks like that has a 48.31% chance of hitting. Now, if I want to track the expected value of it, let's go to the calculator. So I'm putting 100 bucks on it. Win probability is 48%, and the odds I'm getting are plus 135. So it looks like the expected value of this bet is about 13 bucks. I went over probabilities and math and stuff in a previous video that you should definitely check out. The thing I want to highlight the most is that the expected value doesn't mean that this is a guaranteed return. It's just the expected value. It's based on, the formula is written here as well. It's fair win probability, which was the 48%, multiplied by the profit if win, which was 135, subtracted by the fair loss probability, which was the 52, and the stake, which was 100. That's how they calculate it. Like I said, the expected value is 13 bucks. And the one thing I want to highlight, and I went into this in more detail in my video previously, talking about probabilities and stuff, is just because the unlikely outcome where the expected value it doesn't hit, the bet doesn't hit, it doesn't make it a bad bet, right? I use the example of flipping a coin. If you flip a coin twice, there's a 25% chance you're going to get heads twice. There's a 50% chance you're going to get heads and tails, one of each, and there's a 25% chance you're going to get tails. And then, I like to use the example of if you have a weighted coin, so I knew that heads is a little bit weighted more, so it's actually a 52% chance of hitting as opposed to 50. That increases the probability, so there's about a 27% chance of it getting heads twice, about 48% of it landing 1 and 1, and about 23 of it landing, 23 of it landing on tails twice. So if I bet on heads both times, there's a 23% chance that I lose both times. That doesn't make it a bad bet. That just makes it bad variance. It makes it bad luck. So, like I said, I'll definitely check that video out for more detail, but that's kind of the high level purpose of it. So like I said, the expected value is 13. And let's look at the football reasons why I think this is a really good bet. So let's look at Devin Singletary stats. So we're getting the under 1.5 receptions, which seems low. But so if we're just looking strictly off his receptions, looks like he would have hit that the first 2 weeks, and he hasn't hit that since. Looks like the past 3 weeks, his targets have been 2, 1, 2, and he's caught one of them each time. So look, if you look just off the bat, looks like that bet's hit 60% of the time. Looks like it's hit all 100% of the past 3 weeks. But the main reason why I like this bet is if you look at the offensive snap percentage, it's consistently gone down from week 1. So he had the most receptions and targets in week 1, where he was playing 75% of the snaps. If you remember, their other running back, Zach Moss, was out that game, so he didn't play at all. Week 2, the other game when he hit that bet, he played 66% of the snaps. And then that dropped from 66 to 43, 44. And then the worst, it's been at 26% last week against the Chiefs. In that Chiefs game, they put up a ton of points, and he played the least amount of percentage of snaps that game. So he's been trending down as far as stats. And if you look at his backfield mate, Zach Moss stats, this is who's been taking most of the work. So let's look at his snap percentage. So week 1, he didn't play. That's why it's at 0%. Week 2, he played 28% of the snaps. So it looks like Devin Singletary got 66. He got 28. So there's a little bit when they were on the field at the same time. And then, just as you notice the drop in snap percentage from Devin Singletary, you see an increase in snap percentage from Zach Moss, from 56, and then last week at 74. Again, it highlighted last week when they had one of their best offensive outputs based on the opponent. I know they put up 40 against Houston, but like that doesn't really mean anything. They put up 43 against Washington football team. But the Kansas City game, they really, really wanted to win, and they brought out all their big guns. And Zach Moss has had good games. 2 touchdowns against Miami, 1 touchdown against Houston. He didn't have any last week. He actually had his worst game last week, but he had the most targets, so that's probably something. He did have 55 yards on the receiving end, so he had a good game. And it's looking like the Bills are trending Devin Singletary out of their game plan. And in a game today against the Titans, who have had a pretty weak defense, you figure that the Bills will be able to pass the crap out of the ball against the Titans, so they're not going to be running it a ton. And when they do run it, they're just going to use Zach Moss. So that's why I wanted to highlight that bet. I put 100 on it. I wanted to highlight that as my favorite bet. That's why I took it before we'd even started, mainly because I didn't want to lose out on it. I want to make sure the odds didn't change, and B, because I'm very confident in it. So let's look at the other two. Oh, it looks like the odds. So if I'd waited, I could have gotten in at plus 150. So if we want to go back, so it looks like the odds on Pinnacle went up, and also the book went up. So I won't do the math again. But so here's one. It looks like it's 8%. Emmanuel Sanders over 60 receiving yards. I love this one. Looks like it's on FanDuel. I'm going to go ahead and lock this in now. I'm going to put 50 on this one. Let me go do that now, and let me log into my account. So I have to FanDuel Sportsbook. All right, let me do it on my phone real quick first. And then once I'm done locking these bets, I'll show you my my bet history. I'll show you how much money I've made doing these positive EV bets, and why I continue to tail and why I love them. So, all right, so I'm on FanDuel, receiving props, and I believe the stat was what? Emmanuel Sanders over 60 receiving yards. Emmanuel Sanders. Let's refresh, make sure it's still there. And it still is. 50. Okay, so let's go to the FanDuel Sportsbook. Let me just show you that I placed it so we can move on. So I'm logging into my account. I'm in Virginia. Yeah, I know this is great video when I'm logging into my account. This isn't going to work. My bets. Emmanuel Sanders over receiving yards. There it is. Looks like there's another one that went. Let me make sure I add this. Okay, so that one went away. That's unfortunate. So the Emmanuel Sanders, why I like that one a lot. Let's get out of some of these tabs. Let's go to Emmanuel Sanders stats. So this is another example of someone who's been coming on of late. So it looks like, let me go to Pro Football Reference because this is my favorite page. So week 1, 52. Week 2, 48. And then 94, 74. He only had 54 last week against the Chiefs, but he had 2 touchdowns. And he had 2 touchdowns against the Washington football team. And his snap percentage has actually been steady, and his targets have been pretty steady too. So he actually had the most targets week 1, which it's not what I would have expected. I would have expected it to go up because I've noticed that his production has gone up. So that's a good example of why people that had him in fantasy stuck with him, because he wasn't getting the stats the first 2 weeks, but he was getting the snap percentage, he was getting the targets, and eventually that turns into good things. So he would have gone over this total 2 of the past 3 weeks. The 1 week he didn't. He had 2 touchdowns still and 79% of the snaps. Yeah, I think that's a good bet. I mean, they're going to, like I said, they're going to pass the ball a ton. The Bills, I would imagine, want revenge. If you remember last week, Bills-Titans 2020, the Titans beat the crap out of the Bills last year. this was one of those games. It was a weird COVID game where it was played on a Tuesday. I think they the Bills had to have a bye week, or maybe Titans already had a bye. I forget the exact details. I just remember this was a game that was played on Tuesday because of all of the different COVID issues that the Titans had. I think maybe it got rescheduled a couple times, but I remember the Bills were unhappy that they got so inconvenienced by the Titans having COVID problems. And then the Titans just blew the crap out of them. This is the game, if you remember the famous Derrick Henry stiff arm, just absolutely annihilated them. So this year, the Bills seem to be on a revenge tour. They beat the crap out of the Chiefs last week, which was their Super Bowl. And this week, the Titans team is not as good as the team we remember, especially their pass defense. Like if we just want to go, let's look at DVOA. It's my favorite way to look at stats. I want to look at defense. I'm going to log in. Excuse me. And I'm going to look at pass DVOA. Tennessee is the 27th ranked passing DVOA defense. So they're really bad through the air. The Bills love to throw with Josh Allen. They're always one of the most pass-happy teams. So this Emmanuel Sanders one I really like. So I locked it in on FanDuel. I also got this Devin Singletary one. Let's refresh. Let's see. So none of the ones for the game tonight. There's this Dawson Knox over 3.5 receptions. It's another one I like. Derrick Henry under. I'm going to go ahead and do my last 50 on the Dawson Knox over receptions. It's at plus 100. I already have the FanDuel up on my phone, so I can just get it. I can get it done really quickly, and I'll show you I'll quickly show you through the logic of why I think that's a good one. But let me just lock it in real first. Dawson Knox over 3.5. $50. Perfect. So Dawson Knox, similar to Emmanuel Sanders, you've seen his role increase. Knox, whoa. Dawson Knox stats. You've seen his role increase a lot as the weeks have gone on. So week 1, 56% of the snaps, 4 receptions. So this actually would have hit 41 yards. And then it jumped up 83, 78, 81, 96. So it looks like this receptions would have hit 60% of the games, 3 of 5. It would not have hit last week against the Chiefs, but he did have 117 yards and a touchdown. He's had 5 touchdowns the past 4 weeks. So him and along with Emmanuel Sanders just keep having success when they're targeted, and I think that's going to continue. So that's why I like having both. And you'll notice this has been fading Stephon Diggs, who last year had one of the best years for a receiver ever. This year he's still good, but I think defenses are keying on him, so he hasn't been as productive. And another person who's taken a dip from all this production from Emmanuel Sanders and Dawson Knox is receiver Cole Beasley, who we don't need to get into him, but not a fan of that guy. And the other receiver, Gabriel Davis, who was a second-year breakout player for some, but it looks like it's been Dawson Knox and Emmanuel Sanders. So my official 3 bets I'll show here. The Devin Singletary. I forgot to add the Dawson Knox one. Let me go back and make sure I add it. And I put 50 on it. Okay, so to recap real quick, my 3 favorite bets: Devin Singletary under 1.5 receptions. I got at plus 135. That was my favorite one for 100. Emmanuel Sanders over 59.5 receiving yards, and Dawson Knox over 3.5 receptions. Overall, I've done well doing the positive EV bets. I've almost at $900 total, and that's on a $500 bankroll that I've done the past couple weeks. So very confident in those 3. And that's it. So it's going to be those 3 bets, $200 total. You can find me on Twitter if you have any questions at Modi_sports. Give me any feedback there, whether you like them, whether you don't like them. You can also send me an email, Matthew@oddsjam.com. And that's all I got for you. So happy betting, happy watching, and good luck.